This is Women for Gun Rights with your host, Amanda Suffecool, part of the DC Project.
So, hey folks, welcome to Women for Gun Rights. I'm your host, Amanda Suffecool, and with me today we have Shelley Hill. If you have not heard of Shelley Hill before, at the end of this, you are going to look her up, you're going to Google her, you are going to follow her, and you are going to be actively involved in the things that she does, because you're going to find out that she is one of the amazing women in the Second Amendment, and she's a hoot to boot. So, hey, Shelley, thanks for joining me.
That's the best intro ever.
There you go.
Had nothing to do with my background, and it was all about just, well, me. That was that was fun. How are you?
I am great. So I'm going to let you tell folks a little bit about your background, because the company that you run, you and your husband run out of Georgia, and I'm not even going to say the name of the town because I cannot say the name of the town. But the company that you run in Georgia is really, it's in Georgia, but it's really national. I mean, and you guys are in demand everywhere. So fill people in. What is the Complete Combatant?
Awesome. First of all, thank you so much for having me. Whenever you call and you ask, I can't wait to get on the calendar and gab with you. You're one of my favorite people, so thank you so much for the opportunity.
Well, thanks.
All right. Yeah, Brian and I, we have a company called the Complete Combatant. And excuse my voice; it's a little hoarse from teaching at a girl and a gun this past weekend from yelling in the Smoky Mountains or the Rocky Mountains. It was wonderful, but my voice is a little messed up, so bear with me. Anyway, so we have a Complete Combatant, and what it is we have a range actually in Dahlonega, Georgia, and the facility here we teach a wide range. We kind of believe in well-rounded training, so that would be like from the first signs of danger, be your less lethal, lethal, and non-lethal options. We believe that verbal commands need to be practiced all the way through all those options I just talked about, and then think about maybe at the end of that circle, if you want to call it, where we're rounded and we meet, would be something we talk about, the 911 call, or talking to the police, or even your attorney. So it's kind of before, during, and after, just kind of that well-rounded mindset of kind of thinking and practicing what could happen, and maybe we should make some pre-need decision making on how to make really good decisions. And like I said, that's in Georgia.
Okay, so I know that I stalk you and Brian's page on Facebook, and I really do. And I see Brian everywhere. I see you running classes from home and you running instructors classes, and I see Brian traveling all over the country. But this past week, you alluded to it. You and Brian both headed to Colorado for the annual A Girl and a Gun conference. So as I understand it, there were 550 student women, gals there. And so tell us, what was it like? What were you doing? What were you teaching? Fill us in.
I got to tell you, just another amazing opportunity. During COVID, I believe it was 2020, Robin with A Girl and a Gun asked, since they weren't meeting in person, if we would do some online stuff for their conference, and we jumped at the chance for that one, of course. Then they invited us in person for the 2021, and we were like, "Oh, that was so great! What a wonderful, opportunity!" Then we got the call to come back and do the 2022. So it's just amazing. And this year, like you said, was like 450 people. And what Brian taught was two different classes. His was live fire, and if I remember, I hope I don't mess this up. 3 modes of practice was for experienced or advanced ladies, and the other one would be, like a draw to first shot from concealment, would be the other classes. So he did that all Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then I had my class called Reactionary Zones, and that's where you get the opportunity to manage distance and space with time and decisions. And of course, it's all about images and laughter and so on and so forth. But where it's kind of different with this particular class is that we think about the options that we have available to us. Well, based on distance, we need to think about the options that that bad person might have available to them and how they can cover a distance and how quickly our decisions need to be made. So it's not about techniques, it's about actual distance management. So that's what I taught, 6 classes and roughly, I don't know, 12 to 15 ladies per class. And both of them were sold out, and we just absolutely had a blast. It was
So
fun.
it is the a girl and a gun conference. I have several girlfriends here in Ohio that they're like registration opens at midnight, and they meet and have a house party and wait with their laptops so they can all register at midnight, right? I mean, that's how fun this is they're not
It is.
missing it, and they're not going to be late, and they're not going to be second. They are going to be Johnny on the spot to be part of a girl and a gun.
I, I've heard those stories, not straight out like what you just told me, but it kind of reminds me of when I was younger and it was the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And it came on like 12 midnight, so you waited at the movie theater, for it to open up when you were a teen. And people are so excited to do it. They're full grown women staying up all night and can't wait to register for this. So I mean, that's like the biggest wonderful compliment in the world to a girl and a gun. So I'm very, very proud to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's amazing. And you were there, and there was some in addition to you, some other really amazing instructors. So can you
Yeah.
name drop who else was there that you remember, that you
Oh,
bumped
geez.
into, or that you
So,
saw?
yeah, it's so hard to go through all of them. I mean, there was tons of wonderful people there. I'm just going to name a few off the top of my head. First of all, there's nothing better than seeing John and Vicky Farnham from across the parking lot making eye contact and arms wide open, and we get our yearly hug, and talk, and we try to sit and have dinners together and stuff. So that's just amazing. But then you've got John and Sarah Houtman of Philster, right, with their Enigma and their teaching things. And we've got, oh, active self protection. You've got John and Neil, and God, I can name them all. Steph, let's see, Carrie, Soleil, that whole crew. But then you've
Mm-hmm.
got Chris Cypriot. I could just
Yeah,
absolutely
right.
keep going.
Yeah, but
It's
that it
just
gives you
amazing.
it gives you a snapshot of the caliber and quality of instructors that they
Yeah,
bring into this event, and it's a
yeah,
real compliment to be asked. But
yes, it
speaking
is.
of that, so you go and teach, but you also are a student. You take training, and
Yeah,
let's
for sure.
talk, because I am a firm believer that instructors need to continue continuous education, that gun owners need continuous education, and that if you don't, your skills atrophy, and you think you have them, and they're not there when you're called upon to use them. So what kind of a protocol do you have for continuous education or continuing education? Where do you go? What do you do?
These are just absolutely great questions. Thank you so much for making me think a little bit. Let me see. Well, I don't know that I really have a protocol. I try to take one or two live fire classes, outside of us, of course, a year. And then, I mean, if I can jump on any Zoom, anything going on. I was just on with the Bulwarks with Karen and Courtney.
Mm,
God, was it last night, that 2 hour wonderful thing about mindset and thinking ahead. I mean, I took 2 pages of notes, of how they present things that's different than me.
mm-hmm.
And you've got to keep an open mind. I mean, if you don't, you're stagnant. You've got to think outside the box and be willing to be open to other people's ideas. I mean, if you stand still, you just kind of wither up and die, right? So you've
Mm-hmm.
got to continue the education. I am going to Gun Sight. I've never been.
When are you
And me
going?
and Karen, yes, I'm going. If I look at my calendar, hold on. I think I'm in June.
Okay.
I am in June. I head to
For the 250
two things.
class?
Yeah, yeah. What's that, hon?
It's the 250 class at Gunsight?
It is.
Okay.
Yep, yep. I go in a few days early, and I'm talking with Amy Langdon. She's got a cool project going called Discovery. So we're going to do some film work. So I go in a few days early. Then I meet up with Karen Whitlock from Trigger Time here in Georgia, and we're going to spend the week together training with the 250. And I actually won that, and so did Karen when we were at the Well Armed Woman
Okay.
conference last year, which is renamed. But anyway, so
Yes.
we both actually got a scholarship, two different times that nothing to do with each other, and we're like, well, let's go together. So I get to do that, and I'm excited to do that for history as much as anything, and
Oh,
the
it
training.
is.
So
It is amazing. I went a couple of years ago, and I wanted to go back, and so Robin Sandoval from A Girl and a Gun,
yeah,
myself, Rob, my radio partner.
yeah.
I'm still working on a couple others. Jerry Stiles, his son. So there's some other folks who had taken a Masad Ayub class with us are going. So there's this group of us that are going to Gunsight in October to take the 250
Oh, you're doing
class.
it. Oh
Yes.
my gosh,
It,
how awesome. I'm a
yeah.
little concerned about me exploding in fire being, in Arizona in June.
Right? Yeah.
You may see me in October instead.
The October one, there was a reason why we picked that. So I'm going to strongly suggest, those headbands that have the gel beads in them that you soak in water so they're cool? Invest. Invest. I'm just going to say, because you can have one
I
around your
just,
neck and one around your head.
that's awesome. Miss Amanda, I just bought 12 yesterday
Okay.
off Amazon. They'll be here tomorrow.
Okay. Play with
I
them,
know I'm going to
practice with them so you have an idea how they work.
should. Seriously, it's like new gear. I
Exactly.
better try it out first.
Try it out, figure it out, and then yeah, how that all works. But because it's hot, and they work you. There is no doubt about it. They work you. So when I had gone, they ask you where's your skill level and how are you, and that those types of things. And I was like, well, what do I tell them? Because I shoot, but I talk about guns way more than I shoot guns. I go to the range, and it's kind of a different thing. And Rob's like, you tell them that you are accurate as all get out, and you are slower than smoke. Right? I was like, hey. And so that was his answer. And when I get there, every day they do this challenge shoot, and it's speed and accuracy, and you're competing against everybody else in the class, and one person ends at the end of the day with how did the winner, that they outshot everyone else, and so it's an elimination thing. And at the end of the class, I had won the challenge coin. So I am more proud of that stupid little challenge coin than I am my diploma from engineering school. It's that kind of a
Right?
thing.
That's awesome. I didn't know that story.
Yeah. So that's it. So I want to hear how you do in the trek toward the challenge coin as to who gets to bring it
Well,
home.
probably be all melted somehow, on the ground, and Karen will be scooping me up and trying to put my whole body in a cooler. So I'm a grape instead of a raisin. That may
Uh-huh.
be what happens, but I'll try to rise to your challenge and see what I could do by the end of the day.
Well, the good news is that Gunsight is a little higher in elevation, so it's not quite the desert floor of
Oh, I didn't know that.
Some of
Awesome.
Arizona. So it's up a little, but it's still Arizona. So it's not fall in Georgia, that kind of a thing. It's yeah, golly. So okay, so why don't you tell folks a little bit about how did the Complete Combatant come about? I mean, how did a beautiful redhead start work at a firearms training school in Georgia? I mean, what's the story? How did you get there?
Oh, well, this is another question that I don't think I've ever, answered live. I met my husband Brian when I was 14 and he was 17. And we were friends and dated and just, whatever, and then didn't. We just went on with our lives and then hooked up pretty serious about, I guess, when I was about 30-ish. And we've been together ever since. So he's always been in this field, guys. He has always been running a karate school or mixed martial arts or jujitsu. That's all he's ever done. That has always been his main job. So this person is like never worked at Home Depot or he's never worked at the bank. I mean, it's always been, running his own school from day one.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as he could, got his first black belt, and so that's always been him. Well, if you date someone that this is their life, and you're like-minded, right? You're attracted to that type of person because of interests that are the same.
Mm-hmm.
Then there it is. It's a little bit easier. And then I had a something happen to me when I was about 27, 28, 29 years old, right before Brian, and that got me thinking. So I reached out to friends, him included, to show me how to shoot and that type of thing. And so it just grows from there. So really, I think you have to have like-minded interest. And then I've always kind of done his book work and all that kind of good stuff. But in 2017, I don't know what turned in my brain, but I just decided I'm ready. I'm ready. My journey had brought me from that whole entire point to 2017 that I'm ready to have a concealed carry permit. I'm ready to not keep it in my room or put it in my purse or my book bag. I'm ready for on body carry. So that's when my journey started, and that's it. And then I realized I'm a pretty good communicator, and I like people, and I like to teach, and I want to be competent in my own actions, and am I able to actually be able to share some of my knowledge with other people, and can they get it by the way that I do it? And I thought, oh
Mm-hmm.
my goodness, I might be able to help people, right? That might be something I could do. So I just started doing some serious training, and now I've got some wonderful certifications underneath my belt, but also, of
Mm-hmm.
course, working with Brian for an apprenticeship, on the range for umpteen years, kind of throw some knowledge in there
Yeah,
too.
right.
And I'm currently enrolled on the online Force Science Institute program. And I'm dyslexic, so I knew that I wouldn't be able to get all of that knowledge shoved in my little pea brain in a week. But taking it online, I can do it in 6 months, and I can review as much as I want. So that's what I'm doing right now is continuing education through any means that I can with my
Mm-hmm.
schedule, which means a lot of online stuff. So I'm very excited about that.
Well, that's a pretty cool story. That's a pretty cool journey. So the thing that I have to say about Brian is I've trained with a lot of different instructors across the country, and Brian understands like the human condition so much that he understands when you do this, why you do this, why this muscle group forces that muscle group, why this happens, that happens, and he can not only just know them, but then he can share them back to you so that you get it. And that's something that you don't. I probably can only name one other instructor that I think explains things in that kind of manner to help you really structure and understand it. And so it's amazing. When people say to me, who should I take classes with? Brian is on the top, absolute top of my list, because of the way that he gets how
Yeah,
we are built and then how
yeah.
things work from that.
I think that stems from Amanda, from his MMA background,
Mm-hmm.
his coaching background. Everything's got to be. He's also a certified Okasaki massage therapist, which is the deep tissue Japanese style, with the elbow going in, and all
Mm-hmm.
that kind of good stuff. And he's got to. I think in my brain, when you work so physical in jujitsu, and there are injuries and so on and so forth, that to be able to talk to someone, diagnose what's going on, and then be able to help them through it is just a part of his mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So he just dove into it, and I'm telling you, this man completely understands the way your body works and the balances and the pros and cons and all the, I don't even use the right words, but the push pull and just
Mm-hmm.
everything. He's amazing. He's amazing, but he thinks about it also on the healing side, also along with the posture and shooting, and then of course you've got the fitness side. So talk about well-rounded, but that's where it all started. That's where
Mm-hmm.
he's got so much information, as he's been a coach, like I said, his whole life. He started coaching and teaching when he was 18 years old, if not before. So he's lifelong master at this, and he's constantly reading stuff and studying stuff just to master his craft even more. So
Well,
he's very impressive, and I like him.
yeah, and he's very likable. So, and
Yeah.
there is that piece. But the thing for me is when you surround yourself with people who get it, who work at it, who do it. They challenge you and they up your game and you up their game, and it is a thing where you just keep elevating one another. If you shoot against a shooter who is really good, you get better. And so
Absolutely.
I've run into people who are like, oh well, they quit shooting against somebody because they want to be the winner all the time, and it's like,
No.
I want to be
Mm-mm.
second because you're gonna challenge me to keep up, to step up, to get to another level, and that's where I think we all ought to be.
Absolutely. It's funny you said that, because Brian put out a video, just a short one, just a month or so ago, that Chris Bean, one of our coaches, he likes. Of course, they talk about proficiency, efficiency, all these kind of wonderful things. But Chris is a speed guy, right? So you can call it whatever you want, but he likes to go fast. And Brian, given if you let him, he'd be happy with the accuracy. So they were talking about when they shoot next to each other, that they specifically like that synergy, because one pushes the other. And I agree. Years ago, I haven't shot with these people just because of opportunity, but we used to joke around that Karen, once again, Whitlock, she's real accurate, and I was on the speed side. I like to have my hair on fire, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Shannon Pable was kind of the same thing. They're accuracy driven. Not so much anymore. Those ladies absolutely have figured out the way to put it together.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just absolutely awesome to see what they're doing. But yeah, to be able to put both those together, I mean, that's obviously the ultimate goal. But you're always going to lean towards something, right?
Right.
So if you have somebody that leans towards the opposite, absolutely give me second best and push me.
And
That's
that's
absolutely.
it.
And fail.
That's exactly, because it's like keep up, step up, challenge
That's
yourself,
it.
and keep going and keep growing. And I think that
That's
that's
it.
critical for everybody in this industry. If you stop learning, then the world passes you by, and it's not just that you stay where you're at, you lose ground.
That's a good point. I think I said earlier that if you stand still and stagnate, you wither. But you know what? That you said it even better. That yeah, if you don't move forward, continue your education, continue to push yourself, laugh, grow, hug, all these things, right? It's just not about shooting, it's about life. My goodness, then you will. You won't just stand still, but you'll move backwards, and your bubble will start shrinking.
Right.
And I don't want my bubble to shrink.
I don't. I don't.
I
I don't
want my
either.
bubble to get bigger.
I do. I do. I do.
Yeah,
I want my circle to get bigger. I want more smiling people in it, all of that kind of thing. So
absolutely.
so you have recently, if 2017 was the switch into shooting, if you will, then
Yeah.
2020 was the switch into image-based decisional drills. When was that? Because that has taken
Yeah.
the industry by storm. And as much as I have to say, I've been in this industry for a long time, right? I mean, because I kind of started out
Oh,
in the collector side, you
yeah.
know, and so it's just moved, and there's not been a lot of major changes. There's been little incremental changes, but the two major changes that I see that's happened to the industry recently was image-based decisional drills and the Enigma holster design. Those two just changed things, and people have gathered around it in droves. So tell folks the story of image-based decisional drills and what's it about.
Um, that one there, once again, is kind of interesting. Is Claude Warner, one of my dearest friends. Me and him were talking, and I'm dyslexic, and I've said it before, but I won the lottery. My fours and sevens are backwards. Sometimes I use the wrong word when I speak. I can't read. I can actually, and it's really embarrassing to say that, but I found out um, just a couple years ago that you just read this, right? If I had my glasses on, Lumpkin County Tax Commissioner, Courthouse Road, Suite E, Dahlonega, Georgia 305-33770. I read that upside down and backwards just now. So we figured out 2 years ago by looking in a mirror that I can actually read, but I have to read upside down, and then I'm starting to retain it. So I mean, I won the lottery, guys.
Because you
So
figured it
when
out.
Claude and I were talking about, I spell, oh God, don't put me, have me spell anything.
That,
But Claude
that's
and I were
okay.
talking about,
I have an engineering degree. I cannot spell my way out of a paper bag. So it has it is nothing. It is there are word people, there are number people, there are action people.
there are
So
picture people.
yeah, so everybody's got their thing, whatever that is, and
Exactly.
you're so you
Exactly.
found that you're a picture person.
Yeah, just more of a picture person. That's the way I learned. And Claude and I were talking about it, and he mentioned something about I was going to do something for the Mingle. And he says, well, what about, put maybe a word with this or whatever. And I just kind of thinking about it, and it kept going and kept going and kept going. So it was for the Mingle that I came out with just a 2 hour thing with the cards and that type of thing, and live fire and making decisions and using your pepper spray, your inert, and a flashlight and that type of thing, and kind of work through it. And it's changed a little bit. Reba, oh gosh, Hennington, her last name just went. I'm sorry, Reba. She came up to me after that run at the Mingle several years ago, and she goes, "You need to package this up and buy it, so people can buy it." I'm like, "All right." So within a couple months after doing research, we did that. But what it boils down to is your brain doesn't know the difference when you're in a stressful situation between training, under the pressure of a beep, or the pressure of time, or the pressure of this or that, or real life. Your brain, it keeps it, and it responds in a certain way. It just doesn't know the difference. So if we can put a stressful situation and put an image in front of you, and you've got 5 seconds, which is forever, right? In a true encounter, it could be forever, and you've got to make your decision and act on it. So we talk about the nine main options of self-defense. It could be walk away, verbal commands, some of the stuff I already named. Then you've got your force on force, lethal, all the stuff that I kind of mentioned already. I don't want to bore you with it, but you've got your nine main options. And then we throw in tourniquet, because it's so important to understand that basic medical, and where to put it, and how high, and how tight, and all these things that if people didn't think about it, now they do, because an image card has come up with a young child that needs a tourniquet. And
Mm-hmm.
so it just kind of stimulates your mind, but it's critical thinking, and it really works off of what we would call recognition prime decision making. And in a real quick explanation, without getting too deep or making me sound smarter than I am, it's basically, your brain is a computer, and it's going to go, no, 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 yes. And it's going to see this, and it's going to recognize it because it's been in a picture, or you've done it in a scenario, or if it's happened in real life, whatever. But your brain keeps it, because your brain is more of a image processor than it is a word processor.
Mm-hmm.
So it's stored in your long-term memory. The images are, when you connect it with words or anything else, it's like double learning, right? And
Right.
it's quick, it stays there. So when your brain sees this, it's going to recognize it and spit out anything else that won't be the most important, and it's going to, come to you what could be the most beneficial. So it's recognition prime decision making, and that's what we base a lot of this stuff on. And then, of course, repeat, repeat type things. So that's what these cards do, is they just instill good decision making in our what's the word I'm looking for? Our definition of success, to instantly make one good or to make one good first decision based on visual stimuli and instantly act on it. Well, don't we do that every day? Don't we open our eyes?
Yeah, sometimes, but
Yeah.
I mean, to me, when you started to explain this, what comes to my mind is schools and fire drills. Because it's like, well, if the building's on fire, we're smart enough to get out. Well, no, if we haven't practiced it and you haven't realized you need to stop circling the drain and just get out, what happens is that you think, well, I've got this, or I've got this, and so you don't, your brain stops thinking and goes only, yeah, it only goes to a reactionary mode. And so it reacts to something that it knows it needs to do. And that's the piece. I tell people that I learned that when I started my house on fire. And and all of a sudden you're like, I can't think, I can only do. Whatever it is, I'm doing something, and if that doesn't work, then I'll do something else. But the analytical, I walked through my garage multiple times with keys in every car and went and stood outside in 10-degree weather and didn't take a car outside. So I potentially left them to burn while I stood outside and froze in my slippers. Right? Because you're not thinking. And so that's the beauty, I really believe, of the cards and the thought process, is that you take your brain somewhere. So in a non-emergency, you have a chance to think it through and analyze it, and then stockpile that so that in an emergency, guess what? There's already an answer there, and it says do this, 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 and this.
That is yes, that's a wonderful, I like, once again, listening to other people talk about things that are dear to my heart. A stockpile. See, all these words are wonderful. That's exactly what it is. It's just putting things in your computer here, right? So you can just pull it up quickly. And that's what you want. The freeze can get you, right? We need to do something. But if we have seen it before, then we know that we can do something. We know we can do it quickly. We know it's successful. And, we know our number one thing is avoid and get the heck out of there, right? So I think that's where the reactionary zones came in, because that's kind of a little section in the image-based decisional drills based on proxemics. So we've got Edward T. Hall did his thing on proxemics, which are his 4 zones based on the social distances. And so Brian and I just started putting other stuff together. And of course, it's not our material. It's people that, once again, are so much smarter than me, that we've compiled all this information and went, how can I get this out? And would I be able to this out in my way, right, in my style, and have people learn? And that's where the reactionary zones. So we've got most amount of time to react, some, least, and none. And what we found through doing force on force since 2017, 2016, from the Complete Combatant, is that so many people don't understand managing the distance, right? So if we can help people understand that the decision that they're making, if they see something that is raising the hair on the back of their neck at 25 feet, you've got the most amount of time to make a decision, right? It's like if someone threw a football, right? So think about this. Let's take an activity. And someone threw a football to you at 25, 35, 50 feet, right? And they threw it. Well, you're underneath it, right? You have plenty of time to right, left, forward, back, right, to make a decision or not. and leave,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we can do that at 25 and beyond type thing, and then we have the most amount of time least and none. And what people don't understand is you can't make the same decisions at 25 feet that you do at 12, that you do at 6, that you do at none. Because
Mm-hmm.
6 feet and under, there is no decision to make. They're there. I'm not saying you don't do anything. It's just a different type of decision, a different type of
Right.
fight, because they're there. So many people say, I'm going to run, but you can't. Science
Yeah.
dictates you can't.
You
At
can't.
6 feet and under, you can't. I
Right.
want to say you can, but
No, you're in the
science,
fight. Yeah, you're in the
you're in
fight.
it,
Yeah,
right? So
exactly.
to help people understand what options are available to them at those distances and what they want to train in, and if they want to have this ability, then decisions are more important than techniques. That means let's make the decision to or learn this technique. Once again, from our experience, so many people that want to go to something and they don't have the technique to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that technique's out. So we've got to make decisions on what we want to have available to us and then train in that. So
And
that's
then
kind of what the
practice
reactionary zone
that.
says.
Well, Rob says this one statement, and because people are like, they'll say, "Oh, I wish that I could play the guitar just like you," and he looks at him and he's like, "Not really, because if you really wanted to, you would get up in the morning and you'd pick up the guitar." And when
Right, you
you
can't.
sat down in the evening, you would pick up the guitar. And when you talked to your friends, you'd be holding your guitar. And you would walk it, you would talk it, you would live it, you would breathe it. And then pretty soon you would be that good. So,
Right.
so many people want it instantly without the work. And so part of what you're saying and showing is that you got to decide you want to do the work, then do the work, so that when you need to call upon it, it is there and ready for you.
Yeah. Yeah. They just, once again, I say they, it's just me too. I mean, once again, this
Mm-hmm.
was my journey as well. And it
Mm-hmm.
still is. I mean, I want to play the guitar and I want to be good at it. But once again, it's your decisions to make, on how much time you're going to spend on it, or if you want to be able to stop someone at let's just say 12 feet for 12, 16 feet, just for the pure sake of this conversation, and it is a lethal encounter, and you want to have that 1.5 second draw or whatever, right? Um, well, then don't you need to earn it?
Yeah, put some time
Don't
in.
you need to make a decision to practice it? So if it does happen, then that technique would be there for you. So it's a lot of decision making and a lot of practice,
Yeah.
but boy, it's so worth it, isn't it?
It really is. But and it's to me it's amazing. Like you start to do a draw and you time yourself the first time. And then draw 10 times and then time yourself and see how much smoother you get from the herky jerky. Then film yourself, look at it, and then draw 10 times, right? And then see how much smoother you get. And so incrementally you get gains right off the bat, but you just have to put in the time to get it started.
That's it. I wanted to. I don't know that challenge myself was the word, but I wanted to put some serious stress and ego in something I did a couple months ago, and it was cold, and I was cold. So I just set the camera up, and I thought I'm going to do some work, and whatever it is, I had already decided I'm going to do. I think it was like 7 draws. I didn't decide on that, but it was just going to be several from concealment. I think I was at 5 yards, appendix carry, and I decided the same thing. It's amazing you just said that I was going to hold myself accountable, and I wanted to see what it would be if I worked it down. And it was, I was putting it out there to show people you've got to do the work. And my first one was 0.99, which I was very excited with. That's kind of consistent for me right now,
Mm-hmm.
which means in a self-defense situation, I'm lucky to get what 1.5,
Mm-hmm.
type thing.
Right.
I'm getting pretty good with that on demand. Not perfect, but pretty good. And I did like 5 or 6 draws, and my last one was 0.87, and that was everything was in. So I was surprised myself, but that was that that time and that flow state and just doing it and ignoring everything. I was just in it. And then I took the camera and showed the target, which they were all 100% hits. And I was really proud of that. I would have been just as proud if it wasn't as awesome, because I had already made the decision that it was going out there.
Yeah, I'm sharing it.
But
Yeah.
I've not had a .87 since. It just happened, and that was one of those times that you're like, boy, I wish that could be on camera, and I got it.
And
I've never done it since.
I was in the
But no one needs to know that.
I was in the I think your secret's out.
Don't tell anyone.
Right.
But yeah,
right,
do the
right.
work and do the film, because then I can look back and see, well, that wasn't the smoothest thing I've ever done in my entire life.
Right.
And then you can look at it.
When you
So
start to
yeah,
film yourself and you're drawing, it's amazing how many, well, me, pretty much everybody that I've trained with, you'll see them kind of puff up, their shoulders come up, their elbows go out. It's like, what are you doing? You look like a squawking chicken, right? What is that? Why is that? There's nothing smooth to that. And then after a while, then that starts to go away. But in the very beginning, it's just you go, and it's like, I don't know why.
you never know. You never know what's going to happen when you come up when you have new students come up to the line, especially ones that you've never worked with before.
Right?
And you're kind of like, okay, drop those shoulders. Okay, whoop, there they are. Let's go and
Put it back down.
walk behind you. You never know what you're going to get.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
love that.
So let's talk a little bit. First, I want you to tell folks, how can they find the image-based decisional drill cards, and is there one pack, multiple packs, different things, different themes? Fill them in. What is it? How do they get
Got
it?
it. You got it. You would go to image-based-decisional-drills.com, and it's just like it says. It's super long, but you know exactly what it is. So it's image-based-decisional-drills.com, and you just go online and you'll see you can buy a kit, which a kit means that it comes with the HK flashlight from MicroStream, and then we've got Palm inert spray in there, and then we've got a prop phone and other fun stuff that's in there. It's a whole entire kit that you would need. Or you can buy the no kit, and that just means that you have all that fun information or items that I just talked about at home. So you just really want the cards and the booklet, how it explains it. So, and I usually get it out within the week type thing. But the cool thing is you mentioned the expansion pack, so I'm just kind of going down here. I'm just going to read off a few people. Expansion packs are, you get your original 21 cards in with the kit, and you'll work with it for months. And when I say months, you're like, it's only 21 cards. I've seen them. Yeah. Keep working them. Recognition, prime decision making. Get after it, right? Get after it. Keep going. Keep going. Make one good first decision, then start cognitively stacking a bunch of good decisions, right? So we have a safe environment, right? Or we can get home safe, whatever your goal is. So that's that. And then when you're, those 21 cards, pick an activity that you're going to do, and all 21 cards are going to be low light. Or all 21 cards, you're going to answer all 21 cards with groceries in your hand or a baby at your side, right? So, I mean, constantly change it up. In the car, right? That changes your decisions all the time. So keep going. But then we have, honey, I think we're up to 32 different expansion packs.
Everybody
Each
wants
expansion
in.
pack. It's so fun. Each expansion pack has 8 images. And the person that has these expansion packs, so I'm just going to go down. Let's say we did, beautiful Annette Evans with On Her Own. She has 8 images that she's chosen that she thought was important to her, right? To her life, to her people, right? Her followers or her friends or people she trains with. And then they write a paragraph on why that's important. Active self-protection. We've got civilian defender. We've got citizen safety research. I mean, I can just keep going. But one, that a girl and a gun, well-armed woman that is now American Shooting Association, I think, William April, just a few months before we lost him, he had picked 8 images. and wrote a paragraph on it. So that one's near and dear to my heart. And it really, once again, it's about what he thinks important. So each card, you kind of get in the mind of these people, that Farnham's,
Right.
John Murphy, you get in these brains of them, Chuck Haggard, of what they think is important, and then you get to work with those cards. Greg Ellifritz,
Right.
Modern Samurai Project. Oh, Tatiana's, hers are absolutely excellent. But hold on, we just did. Yeah, well, okay, there it is. Hold on, Lucky Gunner. Here it is. Trigger time. Once again, Karen, probably you guys probably think that she paid me to keep talking about her, but she's just doing such excellent things. She is so knee deep in so many good things
Well,
that
you two are
her.
connected because you both went to active self protection training school, did you
Yeah, and
not?
yeah, but we only live not even an hour away, so we've trained together, we've seen each other, we've been friendly for years.
And then your
But
journeys have just started to run
and
parallel.
yeah, a year and a half ago, we just kind of went, well, you're not boring, well, you're not crazy, and that's our going joke. And she was like, well, I don't be friends with her. She's nuts. And I'm like, well, she's boring. But we're not. We are so compatible. We have more fun together. But she did something, and she started this about a year ago. She started collecting images and taking images or photos when she traveled of creepy things or things that may be important. And she put out 2 travel packs that is specific to non-permissive environments. I mean, it's just amazing job. So we just
Mm-hmm.
added that not 2 or 3 months ago. And I
Nice.
really want people to do that. Anybody that travels, you have to think, what are you going to do in the airport, in the
Right.
airplane, getting on the bus, right? Non-permissive in a lot of circumstances, right? Now we've got the pepper spray that may or may not be able to be even put in the belly of a plane.
Right.
There's something I don't know enough about that to be able to
Yeah.
put too much out there, but I think I remembered that you can't even take pepper spray in the
To
belly of the
fly.
plane anymore, not just in your purse, but something with that. Don't hold me to it. Check it out. But there was something creepy going on with that we might not even be able to have OC at our fingertips when we get our luggage. So anyway, I thought it was brilliant, and I mean, she spent a lot of time on this. So
That's
I'd love
that's
people to
pretty
check
cool.
that one out. Yes, ma'am.
That is pretty cool. Okay, so they know where to go, they know what to expect, they know what to see. That's great. So let's talk a little bit about your event that's coming up very, very, very soon. It's like a freight train. I am coming to Georgia for the Mingle, and I have to say
Yes.
it is the week before the Concealed Carry Fashion Show, and my answer to myself right now is, what am I thinking?
Why would you do that?
Why? To myself. Yes.
I
Why
did
would I
the
do that
same
to
thing with
myself?
a girl and a gun. I got back on sorry, my voice is going again. Bear with me.
Mm-hmm.
I got back on what, Monday night,
Yeah.
and like 2 weeks, 3 weeks later is the mingle. I mean, you're just knee deep in it. And I'm
Right.
like, what am I thinking? And I'm like, I hope they ask me to go next year.
Yeah, I'm
You just
thinking I'm going. I'm thinking I'm doing it, right? That's how that
I'm
is.
doing it
Exactly.
again. Yeah, exactly. The mingle. That one is coming up on what, May 21st and 22nd. And it's where I call it a VIP event just because it's not open to the public. It's for people, women that are in the firearms industry. And that could be, Second Amendment supporters that are, political, high up, that do have some self defense skills with the firearm. It could be exactly what you're doing. I mean, oh my goodness, the voice that media has is so important, right? And it could be a club vice president, president, that type of
Mm-hmm.
thing. That
Mm-hmm.
we're looking for people that are instructors that can spread good information and continuing education, right? And giving people opportunity to work with some of these excellent instructors and coaches and presenters out there that they may not be able to travel to them.
Mm-hmm.
So we bring them here. And it's like 3 hour blocks, and everybody gets to train. It's like the round robin, right? So we'll have 60 people this year, and it is sold out. Yay! So we've got like 20, 20, and 20. So 20 will train in the morning, 3 hours lunch, 20 train in the afternoon, and three different sections, three different trainers. So everybody gets to train with everybody. And then the mingle part of it is actually on Sunday, 1 o'clock, and we cater lunches both days and snacks and waters, and it's on us. And we have an HK shoot where we have tons of HKs that people come in and they actually spend hour and a half each. Once again, group A, B, C, and they come in and they get to shoot the HKs, and it's a true course of fire. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not just a free for all. It's actual dry practice, then it's live fire, and then it's live fire for top shot and the prize. So each group gets to do that with a gun that they're familiar with or not. So it's kind of a
Mm-hmm.
crapshoot on how you do. And then that Sunday afternoon is the mingle itself, and that's where we spend till 6 o'clock, and we're having fun. We're doing image-based decisional drills where we just, booth, have some fun, do some airsoft, and just enjoy each other's company. Door prizes, tons of beautiful swag bags this year, and raffle, and it's just wonderful. And then, of course, we give away an HK to one lucky lady, and then also a holster comes with that from Gabe New,
Nice.
his place. Yeah, so it's a nice, beautiful holster. So yeah, so they get to have that. So that's what we do, and this is our 6th year, and we've gone from in our 6 years, we've gone from 4 hours in a restaurant to
Mm-hmm.
now 2 full days. And I think we could probably do one more, but we're not going to. Brian and I talked about it actually just last night. I
Mm-hmm.
want to keep it intimate. I don't want it to be a big conference. I want it
Mm-hmm.
to be the mingle, and I want it to be probably 60 max, maybe a couple more if the facility that we're at, it's
Mm-hmm.
comfortable that can add that. But we're really happy with relays of two, so it'd be only 10 people on the line at a time, and that's
Yeah,
one coach, yeah, two
it's good.
AIs and an
Mm-hmm.
RSO. Yeah, let's keep it intimate, and let's talk, and let's grow, and let's network, and let's learn people's names. Right? That's what it's
Right.
about. So we can pick up the phone and say, Amanda, talk to me about this, or Karen Farthing, talk to me about this, or whatever. We'd like to be able to have that opportunity, and if it's too big, we won't.
Right.
Right? Then it's just not saying just a, but then it's a big conference, which is awesome. But there's so many great conferences. I want to keep it more intimate. So that's our goal, and so far we've done pretty good with it so far.
Nice. Nice. I am looking forward to it. I have a
We
list
do.
of things that I have to get done before that so that I meet the
Right.
deadlines and got everything queued up for NRA.
Yeah.
But we'll
Yeah. You're
we'll
gonna have a big one.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
And
getting to be a big deal. What?
I just now realized that I probably, I mean, I have it out there, but Paul and Susan, right,
Yes.
Lathrop, Susan's coming as a guest, and Paul is bringing all of his equipment,
And
and
gonna
he's
meet.
hanging out with us.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes,
he's gonna
he's
interview.
a featured media. Yep,
So when we talk about Paul and
and
Susan, folks, Paul is the deputy director of new media for the Second Amendment Foundation, so saf.org, and so he is the producer of The Bullet and the Polite Society podcast. So he does 6 days of radio video content a
yeah,
week,
he's
and
amazing.
and so
Yeah.
yeah, this will be good.
He's thinking of on Sunday afternoon too. We called it speed dating when we were talking about it, but obviously it's not that. We're calling it now speed interviewing.
Hmm.
And he says that Brian and I maybe may start it and end it, but basically every 5-10 minutes, people will just come over and he'll interview them live,
Right.
and just go for it. And let's just see
We
what people have to say. The energy, and
We did
oh gosh,
that
that's so
at
fun.
the Florida Carry event. That's where it was. And
Oh,
so he sat in the middle, and there was a chair on either side. So he's talking to the right hand when the left hand gets up and a new one gets sits down. So when he's done
that's
with the
it.
right hand, he flips to the left hand, and then that the other. And so there's always somebody in the hot seat, and it's a pretty amazing set
Was
of
it fun?
interviews.
Was
As
it good?
yes, it was good. It was good. Yeah.
That's what, yeah, he mentioned it, and I'm like, all in, of course. Are you kidding? That sounds like wonderful, a strategic chaos. I'm in.
Right, exactly. So I'm there through, and then I'm going to have to bug out just a little early so I can go do my show on Sunday night.
Yeah,
So 5 to
yeah,
7 p.m. I'm live, and so I have to make sure I understand where my setup is and what I'm doing. But that way I can scoot to do that. But
absolutely.
it's a great thing, and I'm so looking forward to it.
I'm glad
So
to have you. This will be your third,
yeah, I think it's my third, fourth, third.
third at Mingle.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's third. So
Awesome.
So we're right at the top of our show right now. So is there what last things do you want to leave our viewing audience with?
Oh, good one. I'd like to talk about something called smart choices. We've got something out there that I came up with also, where you've got the image-based decisional drills for more the adult flashcard system. Well, we've got smart choices, which are 84 image cards for children, not flashcards. This is about critical thinking and developing good decisions through conversations and writing and images. So it's 84 cards. And it could be as simple as a picture of a fire extinguisher where most kids know where the fire extinguisher is, ages 10 and up, right? And
Mm-hmm.
this is how, you'd put it out and this is what would happen. But did the did you buy an extra fire extinguisher so you can go outside and show them how to use it and then
You
put it
should
underneath the
have.
kitchen counter,
You should
right?
have. Yeah.
Right? That's what these are about, is these little things that and once again, I talk to so many parents and people in the community and so on to schools and educators on what they found was important and crossing the street. And when you cross the street, of course, we tell our children to look both ways. But when they cross that street, do we tell them to walk on the sidewalk or in the area as far away from the road as possible? Because if somebody stops stranger or mud puddle or whatever, we want them to be as far away
Mm-hmm.
from that car as possible. So it's those little things that I put bullet points on the back of the cards, but it's certainly up to the parent to talk about what they want with age appropriate cards out of
Mm-hmm.
these 84 cards. So that's something else that I just think is very, very important. And that we think about ourselves, but we also need to think about talking to our children about chemicals in the garage,
Mm-hmm.
about fireworks, of running away, and maybe
Right.
what we should take if we run away. This backpack needs to have something in it. I know that sounds funny, but little boys like to run away into the woods, right? They'll never find me in the woods behind the house. So it's those little things, but it's just kind of thinking ahead and once again critical thinking for children. It's for ages 4 through 13. So
Nice.
that's what I'd
So
like to live
so
with.
is that on the same website of imagebaseddecisionaldrills.com?
I think it may lead to it, but this is certainly a separate product that's not
Okay.
self-defense related per se. So it would be Smart Choices Image Cards, long again, but we know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
SmartChoicesImageCards.com, and that's where you could find those there.
Okay. Interesting. Well, Shelley Hill,
Thank you.
I want to thank you for coming on Women for Gun Rights, and you're so much more than just a singular Second Amendment issue. You are involved in so many different things, and you are such an interesting person. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Amanda, for having me. Have a great night, y'all.
Okay. See ya.
This is Women for Gun Rights with your host, Amanda Suffecool, part of the DC Project.